Hey everybody, this is Diane. Welcome to Biters.
And this is Marnell, and it's Judgment Day.
All right, so episode 4 out of 5 of Dead Set. Because we're trying to get this done before Walking Dead premieres, or
we are.
The World Beyond premieres, and we get our final episode of Walking Dead season 10.
We are, and we were bad. We haven't done the last episode when we said we're not on the last episode on the day we said we would be. So
I just had a lot going on this week. Sorry.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just fried most of the week too, and I'm the boss this coming week. So it's really not going to help.
Yuck.
Yeah, I don't like to be the boss. That means I have to, babysit people. And that sucks.
Well, so, hey, before we get going, I would like to welcome my friend Joy, who did not know that Dead Set existed and is a zombie fan. So I said, oh, we're doing it now. You got to listen to Biters. And by the way, you really should check out the crossover that we just did with the folks from Aim for the Head, and you should like their podcast, too.
Oh, man. I think we talked about it, but that was such a fun podcast.
Oh my God, it was so much fun. And she, so Joy did like both pages today, and she sent me a message saying that she really liked Dead Set.
Good. I love it. And it's found new life on Netflix. Everything seems to find new life on Netflix.
Even serial killers. Especially serial killers.
On Netflix. Oh, man.
All right, well, I am going to give you my rating first.
Okay.
I didn't like it as well as I did previous episodes, and we'll talk about why, but I give it 3.5 light machines out of 5.
What? That's such a low rating.
It's not a terrible rating. It's a C.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, I'll tell you. There was just a lot of stuff where the filming was not good, and it wasn't so much the shaky cam stuff. It was a little dark, it was a little hard to follow what was going on, and that really detracted for me.
Yeah, I could see that. And I will warn you, I don't think it gets much better for the next episode. And I know that we always complain about how dark shows are, and that, you gotta We're getting old. You need to turn up the volume.
This time it is not my old lady eyes, because I got them looked at this week and I have brand new contact lenses. So this time it's the show.
No, it's always the show. I mean, 10 million Game of Thrones watchers cannot be wrong. Oh, but I gave it a much higher rating. But not quite as high as I have rated the past ones. I gave it 4.25 man-sized portions of pedigree chum.
Ew. Poor Grayson.
Oh, man. Though, we'll get into it. Patrick has a point.
Oh, Patrick is atrocious.
He is. Which is why I love him.
All right, so our numbers, it was watched by 907,000 viewers, I'm assuming, in the premiere. That is slightly up from episode 3. Don't really have any numbers other than that. The title that they showed in IMDb, or not IMDb, in Wikipedia was Running. I associate that with Rick's character. I feel like he spent a fair portion of this episode running.
Oh, man, the commitment of that boyfriend.
We will talk about that. I've got a bone to pick with Rick.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I do.
We like Rick. Riz Ahmed is actually our featured cast member this episode.
Yeah, so. And actually he sounds like a super cool guy.
Doesn't he? That's why I wanted to do his profile this episode. I was like, we should do Alex because she dies this episode. But I just, this guy's amazing. But we'll get into it.
So just a reminder for people, because we haven't said it in a couple of episodes, the writer and director are Charlie Brooker and Jan DeMange. They are the writer and director throughout, so I won't go into their pedigrees again. And that actually does take us to Riz Ahmad, who is the actor who plays Rick.
Yes. So when I first looked him up, I didn't know anything about him, and I really wasn't expecting much, but he is actually an amazing fellow. So he was born December 1st, 1982, so he's a fellow December baby for Di and I.
A Sagittarian for you.
Yeah, exactly. He was the first male actor of South Asian origin
and the first Muslim.
Yes, to win the Emmy for his role in the HBO's The Night of 2016. He was also nominated for 2012 Shooting of the Star. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. God, where is it? Oh, did I not screenshot it?
Oh, girl, and I'm the one who's drinking.
I know. Actually, I'm drinking too. I am drinking Lindemann's Cassis Lambic beer.
Oh, and by the way, I am having a boozy Shirley Temple made with Kinky Pink, and it's quite good.
So he was nominated in 2012 for the Shooting Stars Award, which is held every year at the Berlin Film Festival. The award is given to Europe's leading young stars. Previous winners include Daniel Craig, Rachel Weisz, Kelly MacDonald, and Carey Mulligan. He was also nominated for Time Magazine's 100 Most Influential People of the Year in May of 2017, and his entry was actually written by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, that's cool.
Right?
So that was one of the things that I honed in on, was that he made the 100 Most Influential People for 2017. I thought, this guy is more than just a pretty face and dead set.
Right? And so he also graduated from Oxford University with a degree in philosophy, politics, and economics. And he later enrolled in London Central School of Speech and Drama. So, dude is no slouch.
I would agree with that.
So one of the more interesting things that I discovered while reading up on him was he's a rapper and an activist. And let's see, he is also known by his hip-hop alias Riz MC. And he released his first hip-hop single in 2006, Post 9/11 Blues, a controversial satire which was temporarily banned from British airplay. It caught the attention of the notorious satirist Chris Morris, who cast him in his BAFTA-winning movie Four Lions. And if you don't know what Post 9/11 Blues is, I had no idea what it was.
Did you go down that rabbit hole on YouTube?
I didn't. Did you?
No.
Okay. So it is observational satire about the surreal circus of fear at the time of 9/11. Apparently it's a generational thing. And he's my generation. I had no idea it was a thing, but then rap is also not my bag. So, and especially probably British rap. But I mean, he's got it all going for him. One of the things that I did notice about him was his more critically acclaimed roles, like Four Lions. He does play this kind of stereotypical Muslim character that Muslim from Pakistan. His parents are from Pakistan. kind of they kind of get stuck in that role, and so it's kind of nice to see him break out in something like Dead Set. But yeah, he is also in quite a few things that I recognized.
Which OA, I said that I wrote that down as well, and I was actually really surprised by that because so many of these actors and actresses they're all British. Mm-hmm. So I don't recognize a lot of the stuff that they've done just because a lot of the stuff doesn't make it across the pond.
Right. Or it's just now making it across the pond.
Right.
So one of the things I think a lot of people will recognize him from is Rogue One from Star Wars. He had a small part in the movie Venom. He was in the movie Nightcrawler. He was in...
So I looked that up because I was thinking, was that an X-Men movie that I missed? No, it was not.
No.
So...
Nope. Totally not a superhero movie. He was in 2 episodes of Girls. And
how are we supposed to feel about Lena Dunham? I still am not caught up on all of that.
I didn't watch Girls. I didn't
either.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of like the chick flick genre either. Like, I saw Steel Magnolias way back when.
Oh, honey, I don't think it bears any resemblance to Steel Magnolias.
No. But yeah. I mean, like anytime, like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Sex in the City. I don't go for those. Like, give me a good horror movie. So he does have a couple of things in pre-production, Invasion, Hamlet.
I'm super excited to see that he's going to be in a version of Hamlet. I would definitely watch that.
And he's playing Hamlet.
Yes.
And in Exit West, he recently just did a short where he was uncredited, The Longest Goodbye. I think he links to it on his Twitter account. So you can find him there. And I will tell you, I looked up his social medias. Oh my goodness, the man is on everything. He has a YouTube channel. He's got a Twitter. He's got Facebook. He's got TikTok. He's got WhatsApp. Like everything. I mean, the guy knows how to market himself. But he is not just an actor and rapper. He is also a writer and producer. He wrote, produced, and starred in Mogul Mowgli, which is a film that was released earlier this year. A British Pakistani rapper is on the cusp of his first world tour, but is struck down by an illness that threatens to derail his biggest break.
COVID! Sorry, I did say that, didn't I?
I know, that hit a little close to home, right?
Right, yeah.
So I really think that we're gonna see a lot of good things coming up with him. I don't think he's, just one of those stars that's gonna kind of be famous across the pond. He, is already, he's kind of like, you see him in something and you're like, where do I know that guy from?
So I want to add to, he was in a documentary called The Road to Guantanamo. It was kind of a docudrama. I want to say that I watched it, but now I feel like I need to go back and look at it again because it's been a long time. He also won an MTV Video Music Award for a song called Immigrants, We Get the Job Done. And he is known for using his stardom to raise awareness for the Rohingya Muslims in Burma and for Syrian refugee children.
Yes, I did notice that. So on Twitter, his Twitter handle is at Rizwan Ahmed, which that is actually I think that's his birth name, Rizwan. So yeah, he actually has a couple of different causes that he kind of does some PR for. One of his latest ones, he was in a movie called Sound of Metal, and it's about a heavy metal drummer that is losing his hearing. And the cast of the movie, there's many members of the cast who are deaf and hearing impaired. And I just thought that was interesting because we kind of have a crossover with The Walking Dead, that there's that same kind of, you know.
I know, you're going for the Kelly and Connie angle.
Yeah.
I'm following you.
But it's the inclusion of people with disabilities in seeing yourself on the screen. Because one of the things that we talked about with our a featured cast last episode was one of the reasons why he didn't originally kind of go into acting, is he never saw somebody like himself on screen. And so I really, really love that now we are starting to get people who don't just look like Hollywood white people on screen. We get, fat people and short people and, people of a different color and people of different abilities. And so I love that they call attention to that.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing more of him.
I am too. He's adorable, and apparently he's a great boyfriend.
Well, God knows there's a shortage of those in the world. Oh, that's funny. Well, that speeds us right quickly into Whisperer's Corner, which there is not very much, because we talked about a fair portion of it last week, and we talked about it with Aim for the Head.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I want to say is a reminder. Our episode with Diana and Steve of Aim for the Head went up a couple of days ago. So go like their Facebook page, subscribe to their podcast, give them a favorable review on the podcast platform you use. Take a listen. It was lots of fun.
It was. And it actually, I didn't realize that, like fig wasps, that you and I being witches was not common knowledge. Apparently, our talk, Steve and I's talk about the bear in my tree outside Podcast Central conjured a bear in a listener's tree that was... Yeah, well, she was listening to the episode. Just
hilarious. So I want to see pictures.
I do too.
You still need to post pictures to Biters.
Okay, to Biters. I was going to say, I posted mine. She's got to post hers.
No, you didn't post them to Aim for the Head. You just sent them privately to the group.
No, I posted them on Aim for the Head.
Oh, did you? Okay, they hadn't come across my Facebook feed then.
Yeah.
Okay, a related reminder. So, Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 16 is showing on Sunday. Oh, now the dogs have decided to play. At least they're not barking.
Yet.
So, Walking Dead, there you go.
That was Mouse.
No, it was Koba.
Oh, okay.
So, Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 16, and the premiere of The World Beyond are next Sunday, the 4th of October.
Or the 5th of October if you are in the UK, unfortunately.
They get it. Well, I'm going to be getting it on UK time since I don't have cable anymore. So there we are. The only other stuff I have are, we haven't talked about Eric Kane or Paul Tassi in a while, and they both wrote reviews of the season 10 finale. And I'm going to tell you, they're both a little spoilery. Paul Tassi's a little bit more than Eric Kane's. So if you don't want anything spoilery, don't read them. I was
just looking at that.
Yeah, and Paul Tassi actually says, not spoilery. And then I read it and I was like, uh-huh. So don't read any further.
I actually was thinking about that earlier this week. I actually really hate that, and not because it's, if you subscribe to our streaming platform, you get it like a week early or whatever. It's not that like it's having to subscribe to another streaming platform. I really, really miss the days of everyone got to see it at the exact same time. So there was no spoilers.
To be fair, the reviewers have always gotten, I shouldn't say always, but for a very long time they have gotten preview copies.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
know
not
they
unusual
get advanced
for
screenings, but
it's not unusual for someone like Paul Tassi or Eric Kane to get advanced screenings, but it is unusual for people to have a pay service and get to see it a few days ahead of the rest of us.
Well, and usually when news agencies have advanced screenings to movies and things like that, they kind of have to hold they can give it like a rating and do a little piece on it, but they can't do any big spoilery stuff.
I'm not going to weigh in on that because I haven't done this long enough to say usually, or, I don't know. I've been reading this kind of stuff long enough to really say that.
Well, I know it's kind of there's been a couple of things that I've read recently in the past couple of years where it's like you have to sign a rider before you actually see an advanced copy that you won't spoil certain things, and it's because we're all expecting the M. Night Shyamalan twist ending, and we all want to be surprised, but we never are.
Well, so going back to our two Forbes guys, so Paul Tassi describes the finale as an anticlimax. Eric Kane actually says he has mixed feelings, but ultimately he felt like it was worth the wait. I'm not going to say anything else about the reviews because I really don't want to spoil anything. And it wasn't like they came out and said, so-and-so dies, or, this happened, but there were enough things that they both said where I was like, that's spoilery enough. I'm not going to mention it in the podcast. So, if you're interested in their reviews, read them after you watch the episode.
That's probably what I'm going to do. You know me, I am the person who will read ahead in the book, but, there's just certain times I want to form my own opinion.
I do want to say, by the way, about streaming services that I'm a little butthurt, and I know this has been like the truth since AMC launched its premiere service, but I'm a little butthurt that you can't just purchase it as a service unless you have a cable subscription that that streams AMC.
Yeah.
0 stars, very bad. Do not recommend. Yeah. Because that cuts out a whole bunch of us who don't have that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's one of the things. It's funny. Every time we talk about a la carte TV watching, I think of John McCain, and I know that sounds so weird, but
that does sound weird.
He actually started legislation for two things. It was to keep commercials from being at a higher decibel than the show that you are watching, so you don't get that blaring commercial advertisement. And I'm like, oh God, that's such a crotchety old man thing to do. I love it. And two was a la carte TV. He didn't think you should have to pay for, 870 channels that you don't watch when you only watch like 10 of them. So if he could have only got that done, I might have been happy, but no.
Well, he did save the ACA, at least for a brief time.
Yep.
So, his life wasn't in vain.
Right.
Even if he didn't get the whole a la carte thing figured out.
Somehow I don't think that was a huge priority.
Right. So I don't have anything else for Whisperer's Corner. The rest of it is, Daryl and Carol are getting their own series, and, this might be how they go about doing it. And I'm like, no, clickbait. Ugh. Do you have anything for Whisperer's Corner?
I don't.
So, housekeeping, I've got a couple of things.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that the dog Funko is the best. I love it. It is truly
enormous.
He's my favorite Funko. No, you're just seeing him next to the little miniature Funkos I have.
Yeah,
he actually is the appropriate size. Pardon me, for the normal size Funkos. I would say that my King Ezekiel Funko prior to that was my favorite one, but now it's definitely dog. So
Oh man, I just do not have a place to put a whole bunch of Funkos. Otherwise, I would love it.
Okay,
but...
you have a little more space than I do. But there are also two people in your space, and I've decided that I'm okay with living alone. So
Right.
Number 2, I am finally giving The Boys the watch it deserves, and it is the right superhero story for the right time. Or the right superhero story for the wrong time.
Oh man, Homelander is the superhero we all deserve.
Okay, don't ruin it for me because I'm not super far into it, but I'm loving it. You know, I kind of liked it when I first tried to watch it, and now I'm like, this is great.
Yeah. I really liked it. I'm up to date on it. So
what's the story with season 3? Is it out?
No, season 2 is out.
Okay. For some reason I was thinking season 3 was either out or coming out soon.
I believe it's confirmed.
Okay.
But of course, you know, COVID.
Right.
But there are torture, and I you know, Amazon probably did this, and I don't know if maybe I waited until all of the episodes were out, but I am having to watch it episodically because I think they dropped the first 3 episodes of season 2, and then they did it week by week, and so it's torture.
Okay, well, so it's good that I'm starting back in season 1 and getting slowly caught up.
Yep. I forgot that the show, The 100, or The 100, it's in its last season, and I caught up watching, and I did not realize that there were 2 episodes to go until the series finale, and I'm just so frustrated. The only thing I like watching week to week is The Walking Dead.
Let's see. Book-wise, I mentioned Sucker Punch when we were talking with Diana and Steve. I finished it. I loved it. A friend of mine recommended a series by a woman named Patricia Briggs about a character named Mercy Thompson, and I started the first one last night. And the character is not really a were-coyote. She's kind of more of a skinwalker in the Native American tradition, but not in like the evil connotation. Anyway,
neat.
Very interesting. I've enjoyed it so far. I'm only a couple chapters in, but I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot. And my friend said all of the books are really a lot of fun. So I've kind of been looking for some stuff that's not real heavy, but will keep my attention.
So I think that the other half mentioned that on the Aim for the Head podcast that we did, you had said that there was like 17 or 19 Anita Blake books.
Well, that's not including the one-offs where she does like a character exploration.
Okay. I was going to say there's more like 30. So
yeah.
If you're really looking for something to read,
but if you're following like the mainstream of the story and not doing like the, hey, there's an anthology that has one Anita Blake story in it, or hey, there's a standalone novella that's about this one character. I think it's on like 17 for the main story.
Yeah.
In the music world, Public Enemy dropped their album this week.
Huh.
And it's called What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down.
Oh.
And I'm gonna tell you that because of Prophets of Rage, I have developed a late in life love for Tom Morello and Chuck D. I missed them the first time around. I'm picking up what they're throwing down now. I have been since 2016. This is really good, and it's got a remix of their song Fight the Power for 2020.
Huh.
Yeah, it's really good.
I did not even know they were coming out with a new album.
Yeah, I can't remember where I saw it, but I've been kind of watching for it. And then they took over the ticker in Times Square a couple of days ago with announcements about their album.
Huh.
So.
Good time and completely relevant content.
Yes. All right. And the final thing that I have is a politics PSA. It is not slanted in one direction or the other. This is a warning to everybody who is intending to vote in the U.S. election. If you are voting in person, do not wear anything remotely political to the polls. That includes masks.
Face coverings, yep.
So you can't wear your MAGA mask. You can't wear your RBG mask. You need to just wear something plain and get in and get out, because otherwise you run the risk of not being able to vote.
Yes, and I would also like to add, do not take a picture of your ballot. In some states, that is illegal, and it can have your ballot thrown out. So please don't do that.
I think I knew that, but I don't think I remembered that. So thank you for saying that.
A lot of people do that. You can take a picture of yourself in front of the polling booth or in front of your polling location, or we get the little I voted sticker, take a picture of that. Do not take a picture of your ballot, please.
Which, by the way, and this is unrelated, but just off the cuff ramble, I signed up for a group that's supposed to be sending out postcards to prospective voters. I signed up a week ago. I haven't heard anything. I've got 100 please vote postcards sitting on my desk ready to be written on. And I'm like, really? Really? I bought the postcards and now you're ghosting me? Are you kidding me?
Huh.
Yeah, I was a little annoyed.
Was it for any particular candidate or?
No. It was,
okay.
I forget what the group was called.
Because I was going to say, I have received a number of handwritten postcards from the Alaska candidates.
Well, I just want to say this national group, and I wish I could remember their name. I should look them up. I'm not going to. 0 stars, no good, do not recommend. Very disappointed. All right, that's it for my housekeeping. Do you have any housekeeping?
So I spent the better part of my Monday de-hacking my PayPal account. So if you have a PayPal account out there, there was a lot of people on Twitter that were talking about it. There's been nothing mentioned in the news or anything like that I've seen. But so somebody transferred $1,000 out of my checking account that is linked to my PayPal account. Which I did not. I don't keep $1,000 in that account. Almost for this reason.
Okay, now you have me extremely worried. I'm getting on PayPal right now.
So I started getting emails from PayPal Monday morning at 12:31 a.m. in French. So I thought they were spam, and so I didn't click any of the links in the email. Don't ever do that. I went over and I Googled PayPal logged in that way. Luckily, I was still able to log in. The person was in the process of changing the phone numbers on the accounts for the 2-factor authentication. And I hadn't received anything that said that anybody had tried to log in. So I don't know how that worked, but the phone number said that they were pending, and I couldn't undo it from my phone. I actually had to log on to an actual computer. But I had to go and I had to delete all of their information. I had to change it from French to English, which is a little widget down at the bottom right-hand corner if this happens to you. I had to delete all of their information. I made sure that the 2-factor authentication was working. I added a PIN. I changed my password. I did all of those things. I notified my bank. But however, because it was a transfer from me to me, they hadn't tried to take the $1,000 yet. They were just trying to get the $1,000 out of my bank account into my PayPal so that they could then take it out of my PayPal. PayPal was more than useless.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, you can never get a live human. And the bot just sends you the little, we'll respond to this in 24 hours. And because it was a transfer from me to me, there was nothing they could do. So they wound up overdrafting my checking account into my savings account and then into my credit card. So I probably have a number of fees from Wells Fargo. So I get to eat that. Thanks, PayPal. Yeah, so PSA.
Any recommendations for those of us who haven't been hacked? Because I have not been.
I would update my password because what is commonly happens is that someone will hack PayPal and get a huge dump of account info and passwords. And so it's good to periodically go in and change your passwords because, companies don't always publicize when they find their information on the dark web. So, because the only places that I use PayPal is I have some reoccurring payments to some podcasters that I listen to. And I just recently bought from 3 shops on Etsy. And one of them is a shop that I have bought from previously. So I don't know. But yeah, go in, make sure I really should go in and change all of my passwords. I should change my email password and all that kind of stuff too, which I will probably do tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, that was really a sucky way to start out my week. Yeah.
So I had to do the whole change password stuff a few months ago because it turned out someone was spamming tons of different folks from my email account. And my email actually got shut off. And my email provider was basically like, if this happens again, you're banned for life.
Yeah, I would highly recommend turning on, wherever it is available, turning on two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
So if anybody tries to log in from an unknown PC or IP address, an unknown device, I will say, then they have to get the text message with the 6-digit number. I have it on just about every banking thing that I have. It's really super annoying because I am one of those people who I've never done the check register. I always just log into my account every day just to make sure, stuff's cleared. I have a budget, so yes, I pay all my bills on time, but there's sometimes where last month our garbage collection place double charged everybody, and there's also been times where I'll forget that I got a new debit or credit card and I forget to update the number with everybody. And so I'm like, why didn't that bill come out this month? So I log into my stuff every day. So my text messages are full of those 6-digit numbers that I get texted to me sometimes it's 3 times a day on payday when I go in to pay everything. Yeah, it's super annoying, but it keeps you from getting a whole bunch of overdraft charges when somebody hacks your PayPal account.
Not every place offers that.
No, they don't. They really should, but they don't. So the only other thing that I have to add to Housewives Corner is I promised myself I wasn't going to do this.
But here you are.
Right. And then somebody was going to try and ban TikTok. So as kind of a protest move, I downloaded the app and I created a TikTok account. And oh my God. Wow. You think any other social media that you are on is a time suck? I spent hours on TikTok the other night.
Okay, I'm very, very glad I'm not on TikTok because Facebook is enough of a time suck.
Okay, and I will tell you my new guilty pleasure is listening to, because they're only 1-minute videos or something, and so they kind of have to thread their videos together. They have to, in for part 2 or whatever. There are tons of videos out there of women talking about their divorces and their terrible breakups and things like that. And I went down a rabbit hole. And this one chick, normally it's 5 parts, so they have to do 5 videos. And so you'll watch, you can go into their profile and click on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There was one girl, it was like 45 videos, and I watched them all.
Oh my God.
It is my new Jerry Springer.
Dude, that's 45 minutes of your life you're never going to get back.
And I was doing the absolute worst thing you could do is laying in bed watching them, not sleeping like I should have been. Do not TikTok, like 2 stars. Really wouldn't recommend it. I mean, you can go there, but it's far better than PayPal. 0 stars, would not recommend. But yeah, wow. You know, I don't like it because there's really cool stuff on there. There's like cooking hacks and you know, life hacks and things like that. But man, is there some junk that you can just get addicted to. Ugh.
That's pretty funny.
It's terrible. See? Even Smalls is like, don't do that.
Don't sign up for TikTok.
No TikTok. That's all I have for Housewives Corner.
Yeah, the only other thing I have is that Mouse is going to get a haircut and a dye job tomorrow, so I may post pictures of that.
Do you want to tell us what color she's going to get dyed?
Oh, well, I'm going to dye her tail.
Oh, okay.
Just she's pink, like, purple? I'm not going to dye the whole dog because I think that's a little bit too much, but I've seen some really fun things come out of our groomer's business, so yeah, we're going to dye her tail.
Oh, yeah. I had when we stopped renting out the house and moved in, we had a pink dog show up in our fenced backyard. It was a rat terrier that was dyed pink. And I thought the other half was entirely crazy when he came in and he's like, there's a pink dog in the backyard. And it turns out it was the former renter's dog who had ran away and found its way back to its old home.
I would steal Mimi and dye her pink.
Mimi is our mom's little dog.
All right, I have no idea why the dog is being such a moron, but we're going to keep going.
We'll do it live.
All right, let's go into our goods, bads, and uglies, because I don't know how much longer Smalls is going to let us actually podcast or not.
Yeah, he sounds like he's tap dancing to go outside.
Ugh, he's ridiculous. They got an outside before we even started, so...
Let me in. I need to go back out again.
Right. Totally. Let me out. I need to go bark at the horses again.
All right. So, good, bad, and ugly. Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
All right. So my good this episode is something that we usually complain about in other zombie movies and TV. Alex got bit, and she didn't hide it. Good for you, Alex. Oh, I felt so bad when Rick had to kill her, but and she was like, "Yep, got to do it," you know. But
she was totally like, "Here I am."
Yeah, and one of her last thoughts had to be, if he would have just stayed in the cottage with me, you know. Oh, I felt so bad, but I was so happy that she didn't try and hide her bite and be like, "Oh, it'll be okay. We'll just get to where we're going and it'll be okay."
Jim.
Nope. Yeah, I was very, very happy about that. I mean, they've already let the walkers build up on the fence, so that's one thing we always complain about.
Oh my God, I so totally thought of you. I was like, they've obviously never watched an episode of The Walking Dead.
Right? Oh, man. That is how people die. But, yes, I was very impressed with Alex fessing up to being bitten and allowing herself to be taken out before she turned and jeopardized her new friend. So that was my good.
Well, my good was actually the actress who plays Pippa. Because, oh my God, Pippa was so painfully stupid in this episode. The light machine and the bad for the environment, wasting light. Oh,
I feel so, because I knew what she meant. Like, you shouldn't waste energy. Don't leave lights on unnecessarily. But she just, yeah.
so but the reason that I made the actress my good is that she's so completely believable. Like, I have never seen her as anybody other than Pippa. She's perfect.
So there was a perfect drinking game for this episode and this episode only. You have to take a shot every time Pippa says, "I don't like it." So the episode's like 23 minutes long and she says it like 7 times.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah, no, she was my good.
Yeah. Like I said, her and Patrick deserve each other because they're just would be so terrible to live with, both of them.
For different reasons.
For completely different reasons, yes. But I mean, I don't even think I'd want to stand at a bus stop with either of those two. Oh. So speaking of Patrick was my bad this episode. And by bad, I mean, like, the guy is horrendous.
He is
like,
horrendous.
I absolutely love him as the villain, if you want to call him that. But, I mean, I really want to be on his side because if you haven't noticed, I kind of always do that. I mean, the guy on Train to Busan, I was like, I kind of get it. Like, he went about it all wrong. Same thing, Patrick. I get it. He went about it all wrong, but he's kind of right, So I really want to be on his side because he's really the only one that's kind of thinking things through. But yeah, he's a terrible, terrible human being, and I love it, but it's bad. Patrick, 0 stars. Would not recommend.
I think it's just so okay. Since we're talking about Patrick, I wrote this down in writing potpourri, but I'll say it now. Patrick does not understand the social contract in a pandemic. We talked about this when we were talking with Diana and Steve. The social contract is we take care of each other. So I'm suspecting that Patrick probably would not be a mask wearer either.
No, definitely not. No. I just love when he's like, hand me that peanut butter, mate. And Joplin's like, what's the magic word? Patrick's like,
yes. Yeah! I have to edit that out.
Do you? I thought
yes!
you allowed swear words.
So we haven't finalized the deal with Southgate Media yet. So thanks for the edit. How many minutes in?
Well, sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
I was quoting a character of the show.
Uh-huh.
Shouldn't count. All right. What was your bad besides now having to edit?
My bad was actually the fact that we lost Alex and did not get any Alex backstory.
Right? Because, she's super handy to have around. She knows where a fenced cottage is, and she can shoot, and apparently she knows how to work a manual lock. And by lock, I mean on a river lock. Which, I mean, it was looked kind of easy, but she really bounced up there like she knew what she was doing. Like, she didn't have to figure it out. It was like she had done it before. So yeah, she was super handy to have around, and even though Rick's a really good boyfriend, I would have had a hard time leaving that cottage with her because she was right. It's fenced, and you can eat the veg from the garden and the fish from the river.
I just think there was so far we could have gone with this character.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So my ugly is neither good nor bad. It is a question. And it kind of relates to my bad with Patrick because he's all gung-ho about wanting to leave and everybody else is waiting for rescue. When do you stop waiting?
When do you stop waiting for rescue?
Yes.
Well, they're still pretty early in the pandemic.
Right. It has only been like 2 days.
Yeah.
So, like, I think he's a little premature on, like, we need to storm the gates and find someplace else. I'm like, dude, you have food and shelter and running water. Like, stick it out. But honestly, when do you stop waiting for rescue? When you run out of food, maybe? When you can make a clean break? Like, maybe the zombies, like, just sort of, like, if they stop seeing you, they'll just kind of dissipate?
Yeah, I don't know. But it's definitely too early.
Yeah. I mean, if Corona crumbles our civilization, how long are you waiting before you start going out and, like, you know, hunting your own food? When the food runs out?
Yeah.
Or before?
Definitely before. I mean, when you're talking about food running out, definitely before.
Yeah, I mean, you start to notice the stuff in the cupboards dwindling. Yeah. You know, because, like, I think episode 3, when they were at the grocery store and they were getting the medical supplies and some food and stuff, you know, we're like we're like hours into the zombie, you know, apocalypse, and the cops are still shooting looters. So, like, obviously that's not the right time frame, but 2 days, 3 days, like, when you stop being able to, like, go to the hospital and count on police, like, where's the line that you have to start breaking laws to survive, you know? When do you start chopping up the dead guy in the garden?
Again, probably a little too soon.
Yeah. I think it's a little while after 2 days, but, you know, they get a week's worth of food at a time in the Big Brother house, and they're, you know, I don't know if they're at the end of their week or the beginning of their week. So, yeah. It's 2 days is a little premature, but really, this fast-moving plague, not by much. So, that was my ugly.
Well, I am stealing a page from your book, and my ugly is neither good nor bad. It's actually kind of both. It's bad because I'm totally ticked off at the character. It's good because it really moves the plot forward. I'm really mad about Rick's bad decision. I think his whole I have to get to my girlfriend thing was dumb. It easily cost us the most capable character in this particular zombie apocalypse. And I just think it was really self-centered and stupid.
I do too, because, you know, when she went to that gate and she saw those zombies on the gate, and Alex was Rick was leaving. She really wanted to stay there, but I don't think she thought she could do it alone. And he kind of made her second guess the cottage is safe. You know, she kind of, like, saw him built up on the fence, and she was like, well, I guess nowhere is really safe. So I want to stick with Rick. So I'm going to leave the safety of the cottage. And it was a really bad idea. I mean, I get it. He saw his girlfriend on a live stream. She's alive. She's, you know, 36 miles away. And he had a mode of transportation to get to her. I get it. But
didn't you also kind of get the feeling that they weren't especially on the best of terms to begin with, though? I don't know. Maybe things change when you're in the ZA and you forgive a lot of stuff, but... Well,
so we started out...
with her sleeping with somebody else.
Right.
But I don't think he knew that.
No, he did not. So, he was all in, Alex and Rick had talked about, I think what they were gonna, like, Kelly and Rick had been together, was it 3 or 5 years next month or whatever?
Yeah,
And
I don't remember.
Alex was like, well, that's longer than I've ever been in a relationship, and so he was super invested, or he is super invested, and there was no talking him out of it. But I kind of think Alex should have just tried it alone. I would have stayed at the cottage. I would not have stayed with him.
Well, she paid for it.
She did, with her life. Hope it was worth it, Rick. So I think that takes us straight into our rotting potpourri.
And I don't know that I have a ton left, but let me get there. Oh, well, so the very first thing is they're griping about the dead lining up on the fence, and I'm thinking, maybe it has something to do with Marky shooting everybody.
Right? And so I actually wrote down, when did Marky suddenly become Jason Bourne? Like,
thank you. We talked about that with Kelly, and I feel the same way about Marky. How did Marky get so good with a gun?
And I speculated about Alex in the first episode because she was good with the gun, and it's like, wow, when did the NRA become kind of a British thing? Like, how are you guys, like, target shooting over there? You're all so good at it. Marky was, he also did the whole running and jumping into the van, and
I mean, I could see that he could be like retired Army. I could see that. But
yeah, he's just kind of a dude bro. Like,
yeah, he is a dude bro.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's been a nice guy. Like, when Kelly needed him to step up to save Patrick and Pippa, he totally went with her. Like, nobody else was going to go. And so I'm not knocking Marky at all, but I'm just like, when did dude become Jason Bourne?
Yeah.
So I loved Joplin's his biblical reference this episode.
Oh, really? I just thought he was a pontificating, pompous jerk.
He is, but I have to say, and this is actually one of the pieces of trivia in IMDb, we start out the episode with him talking about how they were like, why are they all running here? Why are they lined up on the gate? And he's like, well, this is someplace that they came in life, and maybe there's a residual instinct. And I mean, this place was like a church to them. And we heard somewhat of the same thing from Ving Rhames in Day of the Dead, I believe. And so there was also from Ving Rhames in Day of the Dead. And I know if it's not Day of the Dead, if it's Dawn of the Dead, maybe? One of those. I don't know. The one where they're at the mall.
I think it's Dawn of the Dead.
Okay, Dawn of the Dead.
Steve, where are you?
I was going to say, Steve is screaming at me right now.
It's got to be Dawn of the Dead because he offered to sprinkle my ashes at that mall.
Okay, yeah. So, but Ving Rhames also makes somewhat of the same Judgment Day biblical reference in that movie too. And I don't think it's word for word, but it's sort of the same sentiment. And the sea gave up its dead, which were in it, and the death and hell delivered up dead, which were in them, and they were judged, every man according to their works. Sort of like when hell is full, the dead will rise. So I just, and I love that everyone called him out on it. They're like, aren't you an atheist?
I liked Patrick's plan for Davina.
Mm-hmm.
And I love what he said. I hired her. I can do what I like.
I love how he talked Pippa into it, too. He's like, do you want to end up taking turns eating and getting their bit? I won't swear again.
Thank
Doing their
you.
business in the bin until we both die. And she's like, no, I don't like it. I was surprised it worked out.
I was too. I actually was, and so that was one of those. It's dark. There's a little bit of shaky cam. Blood is flying everywhere. Did Pippa get bit? I mean, I definitely had that moment.
Oh, and it would be her. And it was funny. There was a couple of callbacks to, I think, episode 1. I want to say episode 1 in this episode. So the guy that they had to kind of sneak past that was eating the guy in the bathroom was Brian. Mm-hmm. And he was one of the ones that Patrick pushed into the path of a zombie so that he would save himself. And so first time I watched it, I was so hoping that, like, he pushed Brian into the path and Brian became a zombie and then Brian eats Patrick. That would have been great. And then when we lost Alex, did you notice that Rick, like, kind of saw that he had her blood on him and he like washed his hands? One of the things that when they first met up, she went into great detail about, like, you haven't had to do anything. You haven't had to kill your best friend and wash their brains out of your hair and sweater.
Oh, that's really a good callback. I completely missed that.
Yeah, so there was a couple of good callbacks.
Well done.
And I loved when she handed him the axe before, when they were getting on the boat, and he's like, what about the gun? And there's a bullet left. And she's
yeah.
I said that to make you feel better. And he's like, well, what was your plan if we ran into one of those things? And she's like, outrun you.
Which, again, the episode was called Running. So.
Yep. Oh.
Totally unrelated to Alex and Rick, but I loved also that Patrick decided to use, like, all of the bells and whistles in the house to torture Kelly and her crew until they came and rescued him and Pippa.
Right.
He is just vile, but he's clever.
Verbal. Yes. And I mean, I always do this. Put yourself in their position, But I will say this: there was a flaw to his plan. With the lowering the shutters, because every room in the Big Brother house, the kitchen, the living room, the garden, the bedroom, the bathroom, all have a separate entrance where the crew can go in so that they can compartmentalize the cast someplace else and set up the room for tasks or, just basically mess with the cast. So they would have been able to get into the camera runs and circumvent being cut off from the garden. So I just wanted to point that out, Patrick.
Only someone who watches it obsessively like you would know that, Steve.
Right? And then I was like, well, he does have the annoying sounds and he can control the water, the lights. I mean, everything is controlled from that control room. Because if the housemates misbehave, they will cut off power to the outlets so they can't use any of their electronic appliances like hair straighteners and blenders and things like that. And they can cut off the hot water. And so he can do that kind of thing. But, that stuff is only going to last so long in the zombie apocalypse anyway.
And why do people watch this vapid garbage again?
Because we didn't have TikTok back then.
So the last question that I have for you, unless you have anything else for Writing Potpourri, is Rick dead? We were just talking about how Marky has turned out to be a really great shot.
Nobody's ever dead until you see a body.
Right. I mean, I kind of don't think he is, but wouldn't it be just horrible if he wasted all of that effort and wasted our best character
and
to
of course
get
dies
back with
right in
Kelly
front of
and
Kelly.
dies right in front of her. Yeah.
Yep.
That'd be fantastic.
Oh, gal after my own heart. My cold and black heart.
I have the heart of a small girl. I keep it in a jar on my desk.
We won't mention what you have in your purse.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not a 380.
Oh, no, I don't have anything else.
I don't think I do either.
So we will try to get to episode 5 this week so that we can podcast on time for the quote unquote season finale of The Walking Dead. Because it's not really.
And I'm just going to say right now, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking we're probably going to do, I don't know, maybe to do season 10, episode 16 justice, we'll do one for that and then one for The World Beyond. But at this point, my inclination is to do The World Beyond and Fear in one podcast.
Yeah, we had talked about this
With Steve
on
and
Aim
Diana.
for the Head,
Yeah.
and there, all of the zombie podcasts are kind of having the same dilemma. It's like, man, are we really gonna do 2 hours or 2 shows because most of us can't shut up and our podcasts are 2 hours long?
Well, I agree with Steve. We're going to be like, Fear, 0 stars. No, very bad. Do not recommend. Move on.
Right? Yeah. I think that is a good plan going forward. Is sort of a twofer.
Yeah. So anticipate probably after season 10, episode 16, and the premiere of The World Beyond that it'll be a twofer. We will probably do 2 podcasts next week, one about Walking Dead and one about World Beyond.
Agreed. They do deserve their own.
But notice we're not arguing that that's true for Fear.
Nobody is arguing that.
Thomas O'Mara, if he's still even listening to us, is arguing that that's true for Fear.
Oh, I'm really bad. I'm really mad that I really hadn't kept up on the trailers for Fear the Walking Dead that they've released, but I did catch one in my Twitter feed the other day, and wow, spoiler! Somebody lives.
Oh yeah, well, like that's a big surprise.
Yeah, but,
I'm
like,
sorry,
you
the
don't
red
put that in the
eyes
trailer.
didn't fool me at all.
Me either. But you don't put that in the trailer.
Well, you do if you're Fear.
And you don't announce that 2 of your characters are getting their own spin-off show when, like, you could have kept us all on the edge of whether or not one or both of them died.
Unless you're Scott Gimple.
Good God.
Who did bring us season 4. Oh.
All right.
All right.
I think that wraps it up for this week.
I think it does. And, once again, we managed to talk like 3 times as long as the episode of the show. So
Not hard. The episode's 23 minutes long.
And we actually got a relative respite from the canine residents of Ms. Maythorne's House of Wayward Yarns. So
Oh, man. All right. Do you have anything to add?
I don't.
All right.
Have a good week. We're all excited about season 10, episode 16, unless you're Paul Tassi or Eric Kane.
I'm still excited.
I am too.
We've been waiting for this for far too long.
I agree.
All right. But until next week, just remember, take it
one dead day at a time.
Have a good week, everybody.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.